Hey everyone, hope you're having a great weekend. I wanted to do a video on a recent experience that I had with Airbnb as a host, and I figure it might help some people. So in this video, I just want to talk about how I deal with negative reviews. I try not to get too cheesed because quite often people are just upset and they're not taking it out on you personally. It's just, them acting upset and they want to blame somebody, right? So I'll give you a little bit of a backstory of what happened. So essentially I have a parkade next door, and downtown, any major city, usually you don't get parking, or it's very difficult to find an Airbnb with parking downtown. So I've gone ahead, I went the extra mile, I include that for free, and it's actually more than the condo fee is per month on my Airbnb condo. So it's definitely not cheap, and it takes a lot of effort to manage it as well. You have to go on the Parkade website, update the license plate information. You have to make sure they don't lose the access card and the parking pass, and make sure they hang it and properly and everything in the instructions. So long story short, it was a rooftop parkade and it's 10 stories tall. And I was on the wait list for an underground parking because it's downtown. It's very, very busy. So long story short, in the description, in the listing house rules, I make them agree to the house rules. And in the house rules, it said that this parkade was less than a minute walk away, about a block away. It's on the rooftop, and I explained that the parkade elevator is not working, so you have to take the stairs. So all that was clearly defined. And what had happened was the guest who stayed, she arrived after 10 o'clock. So my check-in cutoff is 10 o'clock p.m. She arrived after 10 p.m. and they closed the parkade. So she was very upset about that. So she had to walk down the ramp instead of taking the staircase. So long story short, she messaged me the next morning and said, "I'm livid. All my stuff in my car was stolen." And I said, "Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's terrible, awful news. Just curious, how did they get in? Did you lock the vehicle?" And she said, "Yes, I did. They broke the window," and sent me a picture of it. And I could see a bunch of stuff in the back seat. And she said, "I'm livid. All my stuff was stolen." And then I sent her the screenshot, and I said, again, I showed empathy. I said, "I'm very sorry this happened to you." I said, "Just like any city though, downtown, this happened to me before where, my friend parked downtown, wasn't even in a parkade, it was just on the side of the street and had his window smashed in." So I said, sent a screenshot of the check-in, and I said, "This is why in the check-in I mentioned not to leave any valuables or anything in the car." And she said, "I didn't leave anything in the car." And I said, "But you just said everything was stolen and you were livid." And in the picture she sent me, I could see there was a ton of stuff in her car. So I knew she was probably gonna leave a bad review, and she did. And the way Airbnb works is you can't see the review until you both write the reviews. So you can't see the guest and the guest can't see the host until they both write one. So I knew, I gave her a 5-star, and I was honest, right? Even though I knew she was probably gonna give me a negative review. And anyways, she left me an overall of 4, but gave a check-in 1 out of 5, and said that her car was broken into. Well, A, that's not my fault. She mentioned the elevator was broken in the parkade, which was clearly defined in the house rules. So that's what you can do as a host, is put everything in the house rules. That will be your saving grace, because they can go back, Airbnb support can go on there and see what the house rules were when they booked. So all that was clearly defined. I said rooftop parking, the elevator was broken, it was being fixed, and I'm on the wait list for an underground heated parking spot. So I seen the review, I didn't think it was fair, so I contacted Airbnb. I'm a super host as well, so you get through pretty much instantly. It took like 2 minutes. And, I said, I'm very familiar with the review process, and I've had multiple reviews taken down, and I feel that this is unjust and unfair, and I think you'll believe me and agree with me once you see what happened. So I explained to them everything was in the house rules that you complained about, and that they said that because the window was broken, that's not really your fault. And even in her review, she said, "It's not really the host's fault that my car was broken into, but maybe he could offer me a refund." Not sure how Airbnb works. So, while I feel bad for her, it's not fair. You need to be honest and fair, and that was obviously beyond my control. And she said, "If anybody books this Airbnb, maybe you want to park on the street." And I'm like, so you would rather park on the street than the 11th floor of a parkade on the rooftop? You can just as easily get your car, if not easier, get broken into on the street. So kind of funny when you think about it. But again, just people just cheesed and looking for someone to blame. But that's how I try to keep a level head and make sure that I have everything in the house rules, make sure that I'm honest, Just because my review or her review of me got taken down doesn't mean my review of her got taken down. Mine actually stays up and it's a 5-star, and I said nothing but great things about her. So hopefully she'll keep that in mind going forward. And the next review that she does for the next host, hopefully she'll abide by those policies and leave an honest, fair review. So again, if you're a host and you experience something like this, let me know in the comments below how you dealt with this or some scenarios. What's your worst review that you've ever received? But again, just try to keep a level head and realize that they're not attacking you personally most of the time. It's just that they're upset that something negative happened, right? And they want someone to blame. So Airbnb was super helpful as well. They were right there to help me, and they agreed with me. And within, I would say, 5 minutes after I called them, they had already removed it. So hopefully this video was helpful. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.